Welcome to the LFG Pats Pod with your hosts, Joe and Mike. Let's go!
All right. Welcome into the LFG Pats Pod. This is episode 20. And
20!
Mike and I are away today. We're in my house. He's in his house. But we're still the same old LFG Pats Pod. So,
well, Joe, you have very good excuses. You know, your kids are starting school this week. You got a new job. You know, things are happening. But I would like to say how proud I am about both of our backdrops because yours looks fantastic, buddy. I love it. It looks fantastic.
There's something about that Patriots blanket that just has some sick ass aura. I don't know what it is with the it's I think it's that like color blue. It just pops.
Yeah, it's like a little pockmark type of blue in there that we like to pivot. So I'm in the studio. Joe's got his green screen in the back, which, Joe, by the way, fantastic work. It looks great.
I appreciate it.
Indeed. And it looks like the guy, the bicentennial man is like your silhouette.
Over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he pokes in and out. You know, he's going to look over my shoulder.
Indeed.
He's keeping me honest.
Watch out for that guy. He'll get you.
All right. So we have a ton to talk about today. As always, guys, huge news the past 2 days. So we have the 53-man roster. Finally, we got the practice squad. A lot of moves were made, some surprise moves. Obviously, we'll get into that. We have a few takes that we might have another a bit between me and Mike, a new segment. And that's going to be fun. And then, we'll get into some other things. But first off, we have to talk about the sponsors. So Rogue Island Kitchen and Bar, it's in the heart of Providence in the arcade. It's amazing. I mean, Mike and I have been there a bunch of times. I actually took one of my coworkers. I work in Providence now, so we went down there for lunch.
That's right. That's not too far from where you're at.
Yeah, it's right down the road. So it was, a good 5 minutes. And there's always some good parking over there you can find. But man, it's going to be great. Rogue Island, they're also hosting our Bills away game tailgate on 10/5. So if you know by now, if you buy one of our T-shirts, our hats, our mugs, anything from our store, it's on our link tree. You'll get a ticket for you and 3 other people to come tailgate with us for the Bills away game, Bills Patriots away game at Rogue Island. And Ryan Bissett's the owner. He's going to have a bunch of past apps. Those will be included in the ticket. And then there'll be some great drink specials. So Rogue Island Kitchen and Bar, check it out. If you can, if you want to buy something from us, great. And you'll meet us there. We're going to do a live event. It's going to be awesome. Live podcast before the game. We'll get some impressions from fans, family, all kinds of stuff.
So and I don't want to cheat or anything, Joe, but if somebody shows up to Rogue Island on that day and they say we're here for the Pats Pod, guess what? They're getting in. Ticket or no ticket. You tell them you're here for our gig right there. You're in. Okay, one way.
All right. Spoiler alert: you're not going to get kicked out.
Yeah, exactly.
But the restaurant is actually closed, but he's opening it up just for us. So if you want to come down and show your support that way, then I'm all for it. So, all right. So that was our first sponsor. Our second sponsor is Horizon HVAC. This is a new sponsor. My buddy Mike Cesaroni, not Cesarino, like I said last time. Mike Cesaroni. He is a great guy. This business, I'm telling you, it's taken off. He's doing commercial applications. He's doing residential. But the big thing is, I mean, he just came over my house. My HVAC system outside was gunked up. It was a problem. He told me about how it's, the coolant I have is not, the coolant that they use nowadays. So he's like, look, you can probably get a few more years out of this. Let me help you out. Just really honest guy, really great business, great service. Trust me, guys, you do not want to have your HVAC system go down, whether it's the heat or the upcoming winter. He has some great packages. I think it's $250 a year, and it includes one service for the year. That includes basically everything, for basic maintenance for it. Now, if he finds a leak or something, that might be different. But there's different levels, different packages. Check it out, Horizon HVAC. I have great service through them, and Mike's creating an appointment soon. So check them out.
Indeed. We will price check it and see what's the what. But it's a good guy to have on your side. And he's also pretty active, like on the Twitter community and the Boston sports scene and things like that. So hopefully, if all goes well, maybe we'll have him on the show and do kind of like dual purpose. He can talk to us about his HVAC equipment and his services. Combined with his sports knowledge. So we're looking forward to that partnership. We're pretty happy about it.
Absolutely. All right. So our first segment. So we have to get into this before we talk about the roster. I got a bone to pick, and I think Mike does too. So we got to pick some bones here. Mike and I are very cheery, very positive guys. We like to keep a rosy colored view about things, especially with the Patriots, but we got a bone to pick. My first bone to pick is going to be, and anyone who follows me on X is not going to be surprised, but Tom Curran. Tom Curran said Jacoby Myers is better than Stephon Diggs at this point in terms of what he's putting on the field.
It's a long way to go.
What?
It's a long way to go.
I
love Tom, but take it away.
I do too, but it's just between him and Phil Perry. It's like, what did Stephon Diggs do? I get it. He hasn't been the most media friendly person, but he's also, in my mind, he's keeping his head on straight. He's been focused, rock solid focused on, getting himself back in football shape. And so what? He hasn't talked about his availability for week 1. I mean, the guy, all you have to do is watch him against the Vikings players at the joint practices. I mean, he was putting a clinic on for route running.
He was cooking people.
He's cooking everybody. And so to me, it's like, these guys, it's clickbait. It's the normal.
It's just surprising. Tom and Phil specifically usually have a pretty even keeled and objective opinion about those specific things, about comparing current players to past players and stuff like that. But I just think like Tom has some kind of soft spot in his heart for Jacoby, which I do too. He was fantastic when he was with us. He got done dirty because the difference in the contract was literally $1 million. It's documented. We've talked about that. Anybody that does the podcast or is involved in the Patriots news already knows all of those things. But now it's a different situation because he's making $10 million a year. He wants at least double that, and nobody's willing to either trade for him or give him that type of contract. And I don't see it going anywhere in any way whatsoever. And not only that, but Jacoby, I love him. You can play him all over the place, but he's primarily a big slot. And guess what we don't need? Okay. We don't need a slot, period. And we don't need a big slot either. Stephon Diggs is 6'2", or not 6'2". He's almost 6 foot also. Okay. Also almost 6 foot. Jacoby is 6'1", but we have so many guys in the slot right now, especially because Chisholm is on board here, and him and Pop are going to rotate, and Diggs is going to be in the slot a bunch too. But do you really think at this stage of the career, like all of their careers, that he is that much of a market increase over what we have right now?
No, yeah. This is what I was saying before when they were talking about Kyle Duggar, Jacoby Myers. I mean, I would have taken him straight up for Kyle Duggar, and there would have had to been a money conversation because obviously the eating Kyle Duggar's contract would have been tougher than eating Jacoby Myers' contract. But I like you said, I'm kind of happy with who we have, and he doesn't really add an element that we don't already have. I like what Mac Hollins brings to the table. I like what the ceiling of Booty. I think the ceiling of Booty is probably better than Jacoby Myers, right? You kind of have to agree that with his size and ability to make big plays. Jacoby Myers isn't making big one-on-one plays down the field.
He's not taking anybody's top off, that's for sure.
No, so it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like, and Diggs, with how he wins, is totally different than how Jacoby Myers wins. And I'd rather have Diggs, 100%.
Yeah. Well, Jacoby Myers goes more off of leverage. He's great at leveraging guys and playing to that. But Stephon Diggs is a route technician. And
Exactly.
Jacoby Myers is not. Like, we watched him, we've been fans. We watched every snap of the guy, and he is not a precise. All right, he's not as precise route runner than a Stephon Diggs is, just
Or a
flat
Chisholm.
out.
Or a
No,
Chisholm.
well, that's actually a different conversation. Like, because it really is, because you're comparing Myers to some of the guys that also do all the same things. You're like, Myers, yeah, he's the slot primarily, but he plays some X, he plays some Z. Now, how many guys do we have on a team right now that are doing the same exact thing? Stephon Diggs is persona number one on that. Booty, not so much. I mean, you can play the X and the Z. You'll never see him in the slot, but you got different. And Kyle Williams is going to play all over the place as well. Maybe not right off the bat, but we have that type of player with that skill set right now under contract for way, 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 way less. So the Jacoby Myers window
And he
is
wants a
closed.
raise. And he wants a raise.
He wants double his money, man. He wants
Get
to make
out of here.
He,
Get right out.
and I talk about redundant skills. Like, I'm always talking about Kyle Duggar versus Julius Peppers. His skills are redundant to all the guys that I just mentioned. So, what if he does it even a little bit better? Why is it worth almost $7 million more than some of the other guys that they have doing it, like Booty and whatnot, and things like that?
It's absolutely wild to me, and I think we've probably already wasted too much time on it.
I mean, it's been, look, man, there's some guy, it's 59, it's 49 and 51. Like, half the people want it to happen, half the people don't. We're just giving our 2 cents on it. I think it's more trouble than it's worth. Felger and Maz today, they were like, okay, well, there was a report that one team reached out to the Raiders and they were willing to take him if the Raiders would take on most of his salary, and that they were unwilling to do that. So the team dropped out. What team do you think that was? And they were both they were all unanimous, like, oh, Patriots, absolutely, Patriots, no question, absolutely. I'm like, I don't necessarily know that, and neither do you. You're just saying that because Tony and Maz, Tony and Maz, Felder and Maz love to poo-poo on everything, every chance they get. So of course they're going to push that narrative. We don't know if it was the only team that did that.
Right.
We had at that time. We had 8 receivers on our roster. How many more receivers do we need with redundant skills? So no, it's not. It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. And I think everybody should really shut up about it. Like, we have so many other things to discuss about what's happening with our current roster to speculate on that. And so, like what Joe said, I had to tack on my 2 cents, but what he said is right. We've exhausted the subject, and I don't want to talk about it again unless it happens, which I put the percentage of that at about 3.5%. Okay, just that's my personal handicap on that one. So we can go ahead
and not for nothing, Mike, but what else did the Raiders do this season? They drafted Jack Besh. They drafted Deontay Thornton, who's been blowing up camp. And then they just signed the ghost of Amari Cooper, which, we'll see how he said, oh, I came back to this team. They drafted me. Oh, it's going to be, I guess it's got some juice left, whatever. But the point is Jacoby Myers, you're not getting a raise. You may not even play this year if you don't.
Who's paying him $20 million a year? Who?
I don't know.
I know he had 87 catches and just over 1,000 yards last year with a crappy quarterback. I understand that, but he's a system guy. Like, he's not taking the top off, and that's the type of guy that we need. We have too many other ancillary middle of the field intermediate guys, and he fits into that whole mix. So no, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and he can eat in that offense. He's not going to eat as much because obviously you said Brock Bowers, that kid is an absolute machine. And Jack Besh, we love Jack Besh. I think that kid's going to have an immediate role as a rookie right then and there. So I feel like you're going to see Myers as a flanker or as a slot guy. And they can have that. They can have that production. That's fine.
I agree.
enough other guys that can match that production if our offense acts the way we want it to act. Basically.
All right, Mike, I know you have a bone to pick.
Well, I mean, we were just generally having a discussion about the offensive line and the way I feel like it's been mismanaged. I know I'm not the only one that says this. We had a lot of high hopes. There was a lot of talent there. And we're always in training camp. We're always, and the coaching staff as well. They're always waiting to see the cream rise to the top. Normally, what their hope is that some guy is going to just win the job unequivocally, and we can move along with the rest of our day because this guy is winning his job. Nobody's winning the jobs. Okay. Will Campbell won his job. All right. Mike Onwenu has his job. Morgan Moses has his job. But for the rest of it, we got Jared Wilson penciled, not pen, penciled in at left guard. You got Bradbury penciled in at center. Okay, because there's a lot of question marks about that. And then you pivot halfway through training camp. At some point, they pivoted to where Cole Strange was getting all the reps for all three of those interior positions. And then something happened in like week 2 where Strange and Wilson took a back seat, and Ben Brown ended up being the starting left guard in that Vikings game, the second game. And I was confused, and I voiced my not displeasure because I thought he did an adequate job in very adverse circumstances last year, getting plucked off the waiver wire from the Raiders in the middle of the season and starting 11 games at center for us. And I thought he did an admirable job. But what is it? Is it mismanagement of assets, or is it poor talent evaluation where a Cole Strange, who was a first-round pick, granted, it was a Belichick pick, so the criterion here on all these types of things is different than what he listed his guys at. I tell Joe all the time how mad I got about Belichick's draft board because it was based on elimination, and he would eliminate a bunch of guys just based on whatever he didn't like about them, and they didn't fit his system. So therefore, a guy like Cole Strange gets filtered through and gets picked in the first round. Now, he was good in the first couple of years, and then he tore his patella tendon, and it's a tough injury to come back from, but he still deserved a fair shake. And I'm not 100% that he got a complete fair shake on this one just because he was shaky at center position. But the point is, he did not make the team, and Caden Wallace did. And Caden Wallace, I don't want to look. All right. Okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the kid was drafted as a right tackle in the 3rd round last year. Elliot Wolf is on record as saying, we have every confidence in the world that this young man can transition to left tackle seamlessly. Have you ever heard him taking reps at left tackle?
Right.
They tried it a little bit last year, and I mean a little bit, and it didn't work out, and he went right back to the right side. So now we're in a position where we are hurting for swing tackle depth. And this guy was a 3rd-round tackle last year, and now all of a sudden he gets relegated to left guard backup duties. And I mean left guard only. He has not played any other snap at any other position than left guard. So how is that for your versatility, man? Like, if him and Cole Strange are neck and neck on talent, Cole Strange can at least play 3 positions. Caden Wallace only plays 1 position.
Yeah.
But you can't. But all of a sudden you can't get rid of him because he's a 3rd-round pick. And we have tackle depth need. Marcus Bryant has been that's the kid, right? The swing tackle.
7th round. Yeah. Membo, opposite Membo.
So he has locked down the backup swing tackle position, which I like. I like that kid. And then Vidarian Lowe is also on the team right now as a swing tackle. They got rid of DeMontre Jacobs. Him and Lowe, I felt last year were just equally awful, absolutely awful. So
Yeah.
I hope those guys don't get into the damn game. But the depth, we're looking at depth. Like, you don't want to see your offensive line banged up, but if they get banged up, who do you have? Who is there?
Solid question. Yeah, we definitely didn't answer that. It's a great bone to pick. We did not answer that question in the offseason. The interior offensive line remains a problem, right? And if other teams realize that they can exploit Bradbury and a rookie in Jared Wilson up the middle, then we got problems. We definitely have problems with Drake May coming off the spot. Pete Collins, I wanted to bring it up. Pete Collins did bring up, who did Will Campbell beat at left tackle to say that he won his job? And he's asking, to support your point, they didn't have another option there. So it's like, again, it just kind of spurs the bone to pick with the offensive line. Who is the backup left tackle? Is it Marcus Bryant? It's got to be, right? Who else is there?
It's him and Lowe. I mean, Lowe was our
Right.
left tackle last year, so I have no confidence in it at all. But, Pete, let me tell you something. All right. They're going to give, and Pete, I don't know if you're watching, but we'll talk about it later. But they don't have a choice. They have to keep Will at left tackle. There's nobody else that fits the description as good as he does. And yes, it is I'm not saying Ben, I'm not saying that Will Campbell is a concern, because I actually think he's going to end up all right. But the fact that there's nobody, and I mean nobody, to challenge him for that spot, it is concerning. And the guys that they did keep are not a threat to him in any way whatsoever. And I've been saying Will Campbell since he got drafted, and even before. We talked about him beforehand, how much I've liked the guy. His run sets are 100%. His pass sets need work. But like I've said several times, in this offense, in the Josh McDaniels offense, I wish there was a prop for week 1 about over-under on how many times Travion Henderson chips Max Crosby on that side of the line.
He will never be left on an island. He won't be left on an island, period. It'll be Westover. It'll be Trevion. It'll be Antonio Gibson.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. They're going to protect the kid. Is it ideal? No. But if Travion chips and then flares, and you get him into the flat over there, and then and then the ball's in his hands all of a sudden and things happen, you're not going to see Will Campbell on an island against elite pass rushers. And I think that he's actually going to be fine. I'm just very concerned about the depth. I'm concerned about starting 2 rookies. It's just a weird dynamic.
So who's your bone to pick with? That's what I want to know. Is it Vrabel? Is it Elliott Wolf? Cowden?
That's an actually really good question.
I forget who somebody posted. I don't know. It wasn't Curran. I can't remember the beat writer who posted it, but somebody said this is Vrabel and Cowden show. Wolf is kind of on the outside. I just saw that recently. I forget who it was that said it.
It's absolutely true, but now that I had a second to think about what you asked me, it has to fall on Doug Marrone. He's the O-line coach. He is going to give his recommendations. Mike Vrabel trusts in him and respects him enough that he's going to go with the guy's recommendations. So that's how that whole thing is going to play out. And like you said, it's not really a personnel issue. I think Mike Vrabel runs the show about who he wants and who he doesn't want. But he leans on his staff. He went way out of his way to get a professional staff. We've talked about it, about how he's got so many ex-head coaches or interim head coaches on his staff, guys that have been OCs and DCs for years and years, and now they're position coaches on his staff. So he's got juice to bring guys in that know their stuff. They know what they're talking about. And Doug Marrone, right, wrong, or indifferent, is an institution in this league. He's been coaching offensive lines, and he was a head coach with the Bills and with Jaguars. And he took the Jaguars to the 2017 AFC Championship game where Stephon Gilmore had that great pass up, and that's pass breakup, and that's the only reason we won that game. Or else Doug Marrone was taking the damn Jaguars to the Super Bowl. The guy knows the offensive line. So if that's what his recommendations are, I can respect it, but I can also question it, especially when it comes down to the depth of that particular line. I think it needs to be shored up. I think I put out a post on Twitter or X or whatever just yesterday, the day before, about, well, they're going to pick up, there's going to be some waiver pickups, and the waiver pickups that they got were not the guys that I thought that they were going to go after.
That's a whole nother bone to pick.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go after backup OL depth, like my son mentioned to me. Well, Dan Skipper, he's sitting around. You know what I mean? I know he's 30 years old, but he's also 6'10", and he's a fantastic swing tackle. What would be the problem with bringing a guy like that in? That's a crafty vet, as far as I'm concerned. And instead, they take what? They pick up a waiver wire and they get Tommy DeVito, and they get this Charles Woods character who's on the 53, and he's just like literally just a special teams player. You have you cut guys that are just special teams players. How can he be so much better at special teams over the guys that you freaking cut on that list over here?
And so I'm all for Tommy DeVito. I like him. I think,
I think it's a fun story.
Josh Dobbs is a problem. If he has to come in for any kind of bumps and bruises, he
sucks. He sucks.
Exactly. He's going to kill our players. Is Tommy DeVito much better? Is he worth a fourth waiver priority? No, he's not. I like the center, the Willie Lampkin that the Eagles got. Now, do the Eagles know linemen? Does Howie Roseman know linemen? Of course they do.
No, not that guy.
The most ridiculous offensive line in the league. And they took a 5'11" center for a reason. The guy was muckling people in the preseason.
We liked him. We
really liked him. We liked him as a UDFA. And I think that I forget who dropped him. Oh, the Rams. I think the Rams may have thought that he would have slid through the cracks. But here's the Eagles. Here's Howie Roseman pulling a great Howie Roseman move. And what happens if we take him? Is he better than Garrett Bradbury?
I say yes.
He has to be. He has to be.
But you got to look at it, Joe. They paid Bradbury 2 years, $10 million or $9.5 million. They paid Josh Dobbs two years, $8 million. So they're both making roughly $4 million a year. But I think that the DeVito thing is fun. I think it's like, it would be inconsequential if Dobbs didn't acquit himself so poorly in the preseason. So at this point right now, I've seen Tommy DeVito play. I've seen Josh Dobbs play. I would prefer to have Tommy DeVito as my backup. So, but I don't want 3 quarterbacks on the roster. There's no reason for it. So you're wasting a roster spot just doing that right there. So I'm a little bit confused, and I don't think they're going to cut Dobbs based on the guarantees that they gave him.
Pete says, on a Madden team, all these moves make sense, but I feel like Vrabel is really valuing who has been with the team throughout training camp and cohesiveness.
Big ups, PD.
Foxborough fellas. And I agree. And I think the other thing too here that we're witnessing is years of bad drafting. Right?
Oh my God.
This is all it is, right? It's the culmination of years of bad drafting. There's only so much you can do in an offseason with the massive cap space that we had, and honestly nailing most of the draft that we had last year. So it's gonna take us a few years. We can only be so tough on ourselves because there's only so much you can do. You need to be able to make moves, but guess what? If other teams aren't willing to make moves, or you're not willing to pay, or whatever, then it is what it is. You have who you have, and you got to work with what you got.
Well, I mean, they did a graphic on Zoe and the Beetle earlier today about the draft classes, and I I love Zoe. I think he's like a really funny guy, but he's always wrong about everything. And I mean everything. His sources, his evaluation process, his predictions, his opinions, I think they're all wrong. Beetle is a lot better, but I still have my problems with him too. But they went through the whole thing about who's still on the team, and they went back till 2018. I don't know, I'm sorry, it was Felger and Maz that did that. I got confused because those guys did a similar list, but it wasn't the same. Felger and Maz did that, and the percentage rate, I should have drawn that up and put in a statistic behind that, because the percentage rate of guys that are still on this team is embarrassing. It's
Terrible.
completely embarrassing. And they're like, okay, so at what point, how long do you blame Belichick for this stuff? And my answer is this: I blame him until his last draft selection is no longer on the team. Once that happens, then I can evaluate it on a different thing. But we still have a bunch of dudes. Well, no. We have a couple of dudes that are still on the roster, and we have
a lot of them been purged, but
and a bunch of dudes that are somewhere else these days. And the track record, the percentage, to me, look like about 20%. I wish I could had a time to like bring up a graphic on that, but I didn't get a chance to do that today. But so yes, we are still feeling the repercussions of the absolute debacle that happened in Belichick's last 2 years, or actually last 3 years, because 22 and 23 were an absolute disaster. 21 was okay. 22 and 23, absolute disaster. So we're still feeling the effects of that. But I think after next year, you can't keep blaming the guy for all that stuff. But
Elliot Wolf is squarely on the hot seat, if you ask me.
Oh,
he's
my
squarely
God.
on the hot seat because
That draft
he's on strike two. He's on strike two for me. And
that
so
draft
I can only
last year, that draft class, that was all him. All him. You think Mayo had any like input into
he doesn't
that?
have Elliot Wolf does not have accountability either, and it's very obvious. He definitely he blamed the coaches. So it deflects absolutely.
I don't think that those guys were developed the way that we thought that they were going to necessarily be developed.
You're gonna blame Joe Downing. You're gonna blame Downing now. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get into the roster, Mike. Let's talk about it. We're not going to break down every single position, but I think to me, obviously, receiver, starting with the 8 receivers. We kind of knew at that point, I was calling it, 8 receivers. Okay, so who are we trading, right? And that's when I think we saw, Kendrick Bourne, that whole thing shake out. Obviously, everyone's talking about the Vrabel comment with girlfriends. We got to pull that up real quick.
Yeah, I like that one.
Between him and Marcus Epps, that's news to me. You break up with somebody, your girlfriend doesn't want to be with you, and then you say, "Well, I don't want to be with you either." I'm not going to get into all that. I love when people say that. That's such a cop out. I'm not going to get into all that. Well, you kind of gave us that quote. No one asked you for that.
Yeah, you just did, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not going to bring it up, but
he just got into it, so he should probably own it, but whatever.
So who was the girlfriend? Was it Booty? Was it Epps?
Yeah,
Who broke up with who? I mean, we're getting into high school drama at this point, but I don't blame them. They were trying to make a move. They were trying to keep him on the roster so that, the other team obviously called their bluff and said, all right, well, we're all set. And then we cut him and we released him. And that's just how the NFL goes. They know we have a pretty clogged roster at receiver, and they know, between the Vikings, the Niners, a bunch of teams that needed receivers. So I'm not surprised. And the little bit of drama that came out of it, I guess. So
yeah. So like when I look at our projection, that was back in June, bro. I think that was like June 9th or something. We did our projections up against the projections now. Now, nobody can predict these things. Nobody can predict the injuries and all those things that happen. But I would like to think that we kind of, we kind of nailed it a little. We didn't nail it. We got a bunch of stuff wrong. People on IR, but we didn't do that bad. Like, we had the quarterbacks right. The running backs, we would have had right if Larison had stayed healthy. We would have had him in as the 4th guy. and he's really the only other guy. I mean, we had Brock Lampy in as the fullback, but Jack Westover is now the fullback, who isn't as much of a true fullback as Brock Lampy was. But the point is, we had a fullback on the roster. So there still is a fullback on the roster. I'm going to call that one a wash, Joe, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and I also think that I think if Lampy makes the team, I don't think you see Westover.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's exactly right.
Because I think they saw Lampy as a dual threat weapon that could have played little, H back, a little bit of inline tight end, a little bit of slot. I mean, that guy was lined up everywhere in training camp and in college.
Yeah, his college tape was fantastic. But I'm not going to spend time on it because he's hurt and he's not here right now. So we did decent on the running backs and the wide receivers. I think we also did pretty good on them.
I think you had Polk because Polk was a second round pick, and we kind of were like, yeah, we'll see what happens. And
that's the only difference really is Polk and Chisholm. I had Chisholm on the practice squad. I had Bourne in there, and I had Polk in there just because he's a second round pick. But he made our decision easy for us because let's just call spades. Nobody wanted him on the team. Okay. Nobody that we've talked to throughout this whole process wanted him on the team. So now this gives them an extra year to buy time with this kid. Hopefully he stops being he's not as much of a knucklehead as Javon Baker, but he has knucklehead tendencies. So hopefully he can rehab and get out of those tendencies and come back next year. You never know what might happen. But for the most part, I mean, we still had it. We had it all in here. Those are just a couple of things that we missed. I missed on what was it? Jack Westover. But I didn't know that the kid was going to get hurt. I thought Dipray was going to be the third tight end, and instead it's Westover.
And
that Dipray,
that could have changed some things too. If we had Lampy, maybe they would have said, you know what, we want a more blocking focused kind of sixth lineman kind of deal, where Dipray kind of fills that role. But I don't know. He didn't really show anything in camp. I don't think we
How much did you hear about him? You didn't hear
exactly.
You didn't hear anything about the kid,
Exactly.
So I just the writing was on the wall, and the fact that they went out of their way. I'm not gonna say out of their way, but Jaheim Bell, they just weren't interested in working with him anymore. He's not on the practice squad. They got G. Scott. It ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. They got G. Scott in there on the practice squad. So they think he's a better receiving tight end than Jaheim Bell is, just straight up, flat out. So those two guys are kind of the same player. So we had who did I have? I didn't have those guys on there at all. But I'll
flash up the practice squad here. So we got Battle. I'm glad Conley made it. Like you said, I think Conley adds a lot of positional flexibility there, and obviously he's more of a developmental guy. But the guy's a mountain. The guy's huge. Jennings, I think he showed pretty well. He was a UDFA from last year. Obviously, if Lan Larison doesn't get injured, I think he makes it. John Giles actually in limited action in preseason, he showed pretty well too. I mean, obviously if we have serious wide receiver issues when it comes to injuries and stuff, I could see
him and Jeremiah Webb. Those guys both played well.
Yeah, and then Braden Swinson, probably the biggest surprise cut of the whole thing. But glad that we slipped him in. Obviously, he didn't really flash that much in the preseason or in practice. So to me, that was a good move by them to kind of squeak him through the
the what's that about though?
It's interesting.
It's not every day that you waive a fifth round rookie edge. He's not an edge setter, but an edge player. And I'm really, I was sure that he'd get picked up on waivers. I was absolutely positive of it.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So
They took the
now
gamble, so they must be like, if we lose him, we lose him,
well, now that he cleared waivers, he has the right of first refusal. If a team comes calling and say, we want you on the 53, he has the right to say, no, I'd rather play on the practice squad over here. He
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to do that while he was subjected through the waiver wire. So the fact that he wants to stick around here, I think that's good. But if he doesn't, I gave this draft an A+, and I know, Joe, you were very high on it too. And he's one of the major reasons why I did that. Him and Farmer, I thought were ridiculous values in the late round. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. But I have to tell you, they just freaking love this Elijah Ponder guy. They had
Michael Rodnick just said it. He said, I think it speaks more into UDFA Ponder, which it does. It really just does. When you shine like Ponder does, and impress the coaches to the point where they're like, this is the best UDFA that we've ever seen at this position. I mean,
is Mike Smith is the outside, a guy named Mike Smith. There's probably 10 Mike Smiths in the NFL, but this guy, our outside linebacker's like, he's one of the best UDFAs I've ever seen in my 10 years of coaching. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit of hyperbole, but the value that he brings. Obviously, Braden Swinson doesn't have as much specialty because this guy was like, Ponder has 5-team special team capabilities right off Jump Street. And if we can get him in rotationally on third downs and whatnot, that's just icing on the cake. And you need guys like that too. You need guys that are core special teams players. So maybe that's why they picked up this Charles Woods fella, which there remains to be seen. But that's why this kid like Elijah Ponder was in the same boat as Efton Chisholm and Lan Larson, big sky guys, FCS guys. And two of those three guys made it through. And if one of them stayed healthy, they all would have made it through. That's how impressed our team was with that particular conference and the competition in that conference. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me that they did that, but I'm glad they brought Swinson back on because I think
he's got potential. He showed it in college, and this is kind of goes along the same vein as Keon White, where you show potential, you flash, and then you kind of go quiet, which we saw that from Keon White last year. So I don't know. Maybe he's it was talk of Keon White being on the trade block over this 53-man cut. So
it's all a thing where you got Keon White, Anthony Jennings, Kyle Duggar. All of a sudden, all those guys, high profile players, are on the trade block. But Joe, answer me a question. Do you think those three players are within the best 53 players on a roster?
I think so.
I do too. 100%.
Yeah, I think so. I think the problem is that Clavon Chason and Ponder and a few guys that we weren't even really considering before all, OTAs and everything else as key players, right? Key pass rush specialists. I don't think we considered them as heavily as we did a Braden Swinson or a Keon White, because I think we were saying, how many sacks is Keon White going to have? Oh, maybe in a rotational role, what will Braden Swinson do year one? And come OTAs, all these different joint practices, Clavon Chason was a wrecking ball. He was a problem. Speed around the edge like nothing. So yeah, I think
he won the job.
He won the job just outright. I think we're just seeing some surprises, and who knows? Does Keon White have a future on the team? I think so. I think he's going to play a ton, but we'll see.
You would be an idiot to get rid of that guy because
you'd have to get a lot. You have to be like a Micah Parsons deal, right?
I honestly feel like he still needs refinement.
Yeah.
his pass rush moves are still not developed the way they're supposed to be developed, but he's so powerful. Like I always call him Debo from Friday. Like he's this big, huge, imposing, muscular man. He's 6'5", 285. Like he can play every single position on that line. So I think as a rotational piece, he's absolutely perfect. But I think that they were looking for more than that. I think they were looking for a starting role, and Kayvon Chason he took that role just flat out. He had a better camp, and now he's the starting right end instead of Keon White, and Landry's going to be holding it down on the left side. And the same token goes for guys like Duggar and Jennings. Now, I talk till I'm blue in the face about the redundancy of Jennings and Julius Peppers. Okay. And I'm sure by now everybody has always talked
Julius
about it.
Peppers.
Yeah, Julius, that's my guy right there. I always confuse that. I know it's Jabril. But when I was living in Charlotte, I befriended Julius Peppers, and I have some pretty
guy.
Oh man, I have a strip club story about that guy. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just there. But the fact that he was there and the things that going on with guys like Stephen Davis and Deshaun Foster, like their running backs back at the time. We had some go rounds, man. And he was always there. He was the nicest guy in the world. The biggest man I've ever stood in front of.
Oh, yeah. He's a house.
He was 6'6", 310, just like an actual house. But anyway, I digress. Someday, Joe, in the off season, when we go through all the history segments that I want to go through, but Jabril and Kyle have redundant skills. But wouldn't you think like the coaching staff could find a way for that to coexist? Like, do they really not think that Kyle Duggar can play the deep part of the field? Because I really think that they don't think that, I think like they want him up on the line of scrimmage, but you can only have one safety up near the line of scrimmage. You can't have two. And if they're going to do the big nickel, the 4-2-5, like we're talking about, there's going to be an odd man out. And we've talked about, Pepper's going to be up front. And at this point, Duggar's going to be his understudy. And the free safety is going to be Jalen Hawkins. And then Craig Woodson's going to move around and basically play all of those things and probably cover the tight ends, at least initially. So it's tough to diagnose where he's going to be in the actual defense, but he's too good of a player to let go unless you can get something in return. If they released him outright, first of all, they would have lost like $10 million in a cap hit this year, and they also lose one of the better players on their team. And I feel the same exact way about Anthony Jennings. He's a system guy, and not this system. He's a system guy. He's a 3-4 system guy where he sets the edge. He's a great edge setter, and that's why he got a contract. He got a 3-year, $15 million contract, 2 years ago. I think it's in the last year of it. But the guy has value. He's gotten better and better throughout his career. But by the same token, we now have ends that can set the end. Like his position is Harold Landry's position on the left end. And Harold Landry is an edge setter. Jennings is an edge setter. The difference is Harold Landry has a little bit more of an arsenal when it comes to pass rush. So now you have these conundrums here about who's better, who's worse. And if they were putting those guys in the trade block, they obviously didn't get any type of offer that would have precipitated them making a move, because
not enough, right? They probably got some sniffing around. They probably got some people saying, oh, well, if you eat the contract, and to them it was like, well, we're not going to eat the contract. You have to take some on. And there was probably a back and forth there, and just got to the point where they were like, you know what, this isn't worth it. We'd rather have the depth, because that's what he is. At the end of the day, he's depth. And if he can maybe get motivated by that, maybe he's riding the bench a little bit and he comes in and makes some plays more so now that he's going to be potentially a backup. Maybe that motivates him. We'll see. Mike Rodnick said Mapu going to linebacker. And I think that's what Mike and I were thinking in our early projections, was that's the only way he makes the team is if he goes to linebacker. And so, you have these, big safety types. that really just don't make sense, right? Mapu is at that point would be extremely redundant with Duggar and Peppers.
Absolutely.
So, and I think he's played well. I think he's kind of shown his versatility and what he can do. So, kudos to that draft pick. I forget where we drafted him. Was he a fourth rounder?
Third
Rounder?
third rounder. Not last year, but the year before that. It was 2023, I believe.
So,
But yeah, like I said, like way back when we did our projections, if they keep him at safety, he won't make the team. If they move him to linebacker, he will make the team. And that's documented on our episode 6 when we did our roster projections. That's what I said, and I stand by it because he's 6'3", 220 pounds, and he's the exact prototype of the linebacker they're doing right now in New England. The shifty, the Robert Spillane
I'm
sideline,
excited, man. I'm
the
so
sideline
excited.
to sideline.
Spillane, dude, I'm sold. I'm so sold on him. I'm sold on Chase on getting after the quarterback. I'm sold on the combination of Milton Williams and Barmore. Please God, let Gonzo be healthy. Especially, I mean, week 1, at least week 2. Let's I don't know. We don't have to rush him back, but
Joe, he has missed an entire month.
I know
He has done no work at all. He is not in game
bubble wrap.
shape.
He's bubble wrapped. I don't mind if he doesn't play week 1. This is a long-term thing. I'm not scared of the Raiders receivers. Granted, he covers more than just that. But I'm okay if he sits out, honestly, week 1. I don't want it to rush him back. He's a hamstring. I've dealt with hamstrings. They're very nagging. Heal up, get right. And yeah, I'm all set. We got Alex Austin. We got, Carlton Davis, DJ James. I'm okay with our boundary quarters for week 1. That quickly changes going into the season with some of the talent that we're facing. But I'm excited about the defense. I'm so excited about the defense. I am still slightly concerned about Gene T and any team that has a really good run game. The Bills, obviously, Achan with the Dolphins. There's plenty of teams that we face that have a really good run game. I am still a little concerned about that. And then obviously the offense with the interior line. I think that's going to be a huge story that we see crop up. Thank God Wilkins is a complete freak and decided to tickle people and do whatever he was doing with his foot there. Because that helps us out, obviously, with week 1.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm excited, Mike. I don't know. I think this 53-man roster really gives us a good shot. Is it 9 wins? Is it 10 wins? Is it less?
No,
I'm
sticking to 10 and 7. I'm sticking with it.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't give a flying hoot, man. I look at the strength of schedule, and we are first of all, everybody in the region, all of us Boston sports fans, pundits, prognosticators, media members, et al., etc. They're all walking everything back because that's what Boston media does. So I don't give a flying hoot. Look, man, how many seasons have we gone into where we're we don't know who our left guard is. We don't even know who our number 2 wide receiver is. We don't know who our number 2 corner is. We don't know who our free safety will be for McCoy. We don't know any of these things, and it still ended up making sense. Well, obviously that's because Brady was the quarterback, and you could just put up a bunch of crap, and he would still make gold out of it. But for this particular season, yes, there are some questions and trepidations and speculation about who's going to carve out whichever role. But as far as week 1 is concerned, I feel like we're going to be Josh McDaniels is going to keep kid gloves on Drake May in week 1. Okay. I'm saying it right now. Okay. He did that with Mac Jones. He did that with Tom Brady. When he became the quarterback, when he became the OC in 2004 and finally got Tommy, he still was conservative with Tommy until Tommy proved to him dude, you can't do that with me. I get to do whatever I want, so I'll just throw the ball. But like with Mac Jones, which he should have, he was conservative, and with Drake May now, he's going to be conservative because Drake is a little bit erratic at times, especially in the beginning of games, because he gets too amped up. He like shoots balls, he throws too hard, he throws it over people's heads. He needs to just learn to like get on even keel. So we're gonna see a very I have Travion Henderson, and Joe, this is going to affect our league. I have him as like 6 to 8 catches in week 1. So that might put me
I'm
over
with
the
you.
top.
And oh, by the way, I got him in my other auction league. So we
Oh, you did. Oh, look
both
at you.
have a chance to root for him, which is exciting.
To
I got him and Amika Egbuka. Those are my two. Like, I'm not leaving this draft without them.
You're reaping the benefits of it. I'm very excited about Travion Henderson. I think he's going to be an impact player right off the bat from week 1. They're going to use him in different ways than they use the other 2 backs, just straight up. Like the other 2 guys are going to be between the tackles, but they're going to have. I would like to see some 2 back sets.
I was just going to say, I think we're going to see them on the field quite a bit together. I think you're going to see different combinations of Antonio Gibson, Travion, Ramondre Travion, obviously probably Ramondre, Antonio Gibson as well. But I don't know how you keep Travion and his skill set off the field. I don't know how you do it.
You don't put a rookie like that on ice. The kid moves faster than everybody else. We've said it again and again and again how freaking good this kid is, how electric he is. So he's probably like the number one thing. The thing that I'm most excited about with this offense is to see how they utilize him.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. I mean, it's like in Madden, right? When you take like used to take guys like Chris Johnson or God, I can't even think of like a fast, speedy, older back. But you take them and then you throw them in the slot. You know, you motion them over. You run a fly pattern with another guy running a slant, and you're like, who's gonna cover Chris Johnson right now? Is it gonna be a linebacker? Is it gonna be a safety? Doesn't matter. He has 99 speed. So
who the hell is going to cover Henderson?
Exactly.
You can't put a linebacker on him. Are you nuts?
Well, and Mike Rodnick just said, what do you think of him being compared to James White and Shane Vereen? And I just think they're in a different stratosphere. I think Travion is in a different stratosphere than those guys. His speed and his agility and his, not even that, but his route nuance as a running back is just absurd. We saw it in training camp. 3 different layers to his kind of breaks and basically his release versus his kind of stem and how he breaks off. I mean, it looked like he was running a receiver route, like flat out. It wasn't even a running back route.
Well, this is where all right. This is where the distinction comes in, and we're going to give ZB, our buddy ZB, everybody, probably some people listening or commenting, you know who ZB is. Guy knows his bananas, all right? He knows his stuff, and I'll continue to go back to a couple weeks ago when we had him on as a guest, and he gave me all kinds of shit because I was like, I don't want to see him run between the tackles, and he was like, he sent me a bunch of clips about the kid running on the center.
Inundated you with inside tackle runs. Yeah.
But he was right, and I saw it, and that's the difference, okay? That's the difference between that player and Vereen and James White. I have an incredible. They set the precedent for Travion Henderson to follow. Let's not get it twisted around, all right? Those 2 guys were instrumental in winning Super Bowls. James White's performance in that Super Bowl in 2016 is the greatest running back performance I've ever seen of all time. He had 14 catches and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Who is ever going to duplicate 14 catches and 3 rushing touchdowns? It's a statistic that doesn't get done. It makes no sense
in a regular game, let alone a Super Bowl.
It makes absolutely no sense. But my whole point about it is that's the only game they ever ran him between the tackles.
Right.
Every other game, he was split out wide or he was offset and he's going into the flat, going into the wheel and doing all those things, or, angling back in toward the middle of the field, all those routes. But you've never seen something like that. But Travion, he's proven to us that he has the power and the contact balance to run through tackles between tackle.
He showed it. He showed it in the preseason. He broke 3 tackles right up the middle.
I'm not saying he's better than James White. You have to do a lot. You have to do so much.
It takes a career to get there. But when it comes to raw talent and his skill set, it's not even comparable. It's like
right off the bat, it's way more well-rounded, especially when you factor the blocking into it. James White was awful at blitz protection. That's why he didn't play his first year. He didn't get it.
ZB has shown footage of Trevion Henderson coming out of the backfield and peeling off and lead blocking for his quarterback. And so talk about some versatility there with Drake May. If you have Trevion acting like he's going to peel out for a route and then starts blocking you, and then Drake May starts running, like, forget it. You have no chance. There's no chance.
You go ahead and chase TV down all the way down the field. Drake May's going to follow you guys. He's going to follow you all the way down.
It happened. So it happened in practice at the joint practice. They started to kind of sneak a safety over, right? And then in the game, that disgusting pass that Drake May made, it was and when I say disgusting, I mean a great pass that he made to Trevion, and he almost kind of weaves it in there, but the safety and I think it was a linebacker were right there, and it was like, okay, that was a great pass, and that could have been a great play, but it wasn't. But you're already seeing teams shade a safety over to Trevion. Like, it's unbelievable that we're seeing that, because that opens up Diggs, Kyle Williams, anybody that can get to that mid to deep part of the field. Because now, instead of just doing that, now it's basically like an option. You run literally a post or a corner over there with Kyle Williams or Diggs, and you say, okay, safety, who are you going to go with? If you're going to go with Kyle Williams, Trevion's going to beat him. Just give him some more grass to run in front of, and he's going to beat him. So it's going to be really fun to watch.
Bro, if I see people scheming to cover Trevion,
we've won. We've already won.
I'm gonna friggin' dance a jig. I'm gonna friggin' dance a. Oh my god, man, that would be ridiculous.
All right, so if that happens, Mike, then we got to do that. All right, if they scheme us, if a safety rolls over and tries to cover Trevion, and then we score a touchdown, we're FaceTiming and we're both jigging no matter where we are. All right,
I have to dance a friggin' jig. Come on, man.
You said it, not me.
Well, I'm already doing it because it's gonna friggin' happen. How about that?
You got to FaceTime though. We got to do it together because we both have Trevion. We got to celebrate together.
I know. I'm a wild card, but I always put my money where my mouth is. So
I love
absolutely.
Hey, hey, icing on the cake here, Efton Chisholm. We've been tooting this guy's horn all season long since the draft.
So happy for this kid. I
just got to show his 15 seconds. There was more of the clip, but I just want to show this clip.
It's pretty awesome, pretty special. Put a lot of hard work into it, but I can't thank, my coaches and the guys around me for allowing me to take advantage of the opportunity, and then coaches for giving me the opportunity. So I'm truly blessed, truly thankful, and excited to just kind of get after it.
This kid, man, if I want anyone to date my, date my daughter, date my sister, the whole thing with Diggs, right? Where they all asked him, who would you not want your sister to date? And they all said no. Guess who I want them to date? Efton fucking Chisholm. This kid is he's just an exemplary kid.
Well, listen, he's like 14 years old. So
yeah,
10 years from now, your daughter will be almost not close to 15 years from now, she'll be almost of age.
But no, you can't be more happy for a kid like this, right? I mean, he's an absolute stud on the field. Off the field, he's like a man of God, just like Trevion Henderson. They're both just like, these guys are just good people in general. You don't have to worry about anything other than these guys are going to show up. They're going to know where they need to be. It's just an amazing story. It really is.
It's fantastic, man. We've been following it since Jump Street. Joe pointed him out to me. We both discovered Land Larison at the same time, but he discovered Efton first, and I was like, "Nah, this kid's friggin' tiny. I don't think he can like stretch it. I don't know. He looks like a waif. I think he's gonna get his ass kicked." And guess what, fellas? I was wrong, and I'm never afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Because when I saw this kid start running routes in training camp, I was like, "Oh my god, he's a friggin' perfect jitterbug slot, like the perfect guy, the Amendola guy, the Edelman guy, like he's that guy." I was gonna, I would say Troy Brown, but I put Troy Brown in like a very upper echelon. So it'd
Oh,
be a
he's
lot.
special.
Yeah,
He's
it'd be a
my
lot.
favorite Patriot player. Period.
Yeah,
It's just you don't make Troy Browns. They just
nah,
don't exist anymore.
it'd be a lot for me to compare that. But his wiggle and shake reminds me a lot of Amendola specifically.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think there's going to be a package for him, dude. Like I think he's going to be Pop's understudy. So when Pop needs a blow or he takes a series off or something, you're going to see this kid. He's going to make moves.
I think week one. I think he's in the mix week one. I really do.
I think. All right, fine. All right, hot take. He gets more snaps than Kyle Williams. I'm calling it.
I like it. That's juicy.
I'm calling it right now.
Efton
Chisholm gets more snaps than Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is going to be eased more in because he's a rotational guy with the outside guys. He's basically the third X, the second flanker, and probably the third slot guy right now. And Chisholm's the second slot guy. So I see Chisholm getting more snaps than Kyle Williams. I can't
week one,
wait.
You're saying week one, right? Week one.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like it. I think it's very possible.
I love waiting to see if my predictions come through. I love to see if my 4-2-5 nickel comes through. My big nickel that I'm obsessed with. Yep. I can't wait to see if that actually comes through. I can't wait to see how they up Justin Fields, because I think that they're going to just spy him and keep contain on the edges with the two defensive ends and not rush and just stand there and wait for him to make a move. All these things that I've said in all these episodes, I am very interested to see how wrong I am. But you know what? That's the sport, Joe. That's our sport.
Beauty of it. That's our
sport. That's our speculation. That's our our knowledge, making educated guesses and things like that. So we're just completely ramped up. I'm bummed out that we have one more show to do before the regular season, because I want the regular season to happen right this instant.
Now, yeah, I agree.
I know all of us feel the same exact way. I'm a little bit nervous, but we're playing the Raiders, and I think they suck. Just flat out. Sorry, I'm just saying it.
Yeah, I think their offensive line is suspect. I think their defense is, they can generate a pass rush at times, but I'm not really afraid at their mid to deep secondary. And so to me, it'll be an interesting game. I think Gene T is the key. If we can stop Gene T, if we can just load the box on him and stop him, I'm not afraid of Geno Smith beating us deep. So yeah, I feel very good about that game. But next week, we're hoping to have Fitzy from WEI on so we can preview the game. If not, we'll be okay. We'll still preview the game next week, but we're penciled in right now. Fitzy,
we need you, Fitzy. Come on in. We have your opinion, bro. We want him in here. He's got a lot of good insight. He likes Joe. Him and Joe have a good back and forth. We're going to get it done. We're going to show him what's what, because we know our things and our stuff. But as far as it comes to Genty, that's the point about that is valid, because like I keep saying, our defense is going to be a 4-3, one gap attacking. So we're getting upfield. We're not holding the pocket. Genty is the type of guy that could exploit that. He could exploit, because he can cut. He can cut back.
He can make you pay for over pursuing, for sure.
So if you get into the backfield too quick, I can see him outrunning, like, first of all, juking guys and then outrunning them and getting into the thing. So it's going to be like a very good litmus test to see if Mike Vrabel's vision about the 4-3 one gapping defense is going to hold water. That's a great test for us. I think they'll be okay, but I can't wait to see it.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, we are a little over an hour in, and it's been a great episode. Like I said, next week, look forward to hopefully Fitzy joining us. If not, we'll either grab somebody else or we'll go just me and Mike again. But we love the prospects of this team. We love the 53-man roster. Could it be better? Yeah, but you know what? Our drafts haven't been great over the past few years, and guess what? You can't have everything. So we're working with it. We're making progress, and we remain excited about this season. So look forward to next week, and thank you guys for listening in. Follow us, LFG Patspod on X, Joe LFG Patspod, Mike LFG Patspod. We're all over on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Facebook, even though it's not the best of
no,
platforms.
Facebook sucks.
But we do it for the family. Our families are on there and stuff, so we like to keep them updated. But thank you guys for tuning in, and let's fucking go.
LFG, we'll see you next week.